India is surrounded by an enormous physical perimeter. To grasp the sheer scale of the space, you have to picture over 15,200 kilometers of rugged land and another 7,516 kilometers of coastline. Historically, defending an edge that massive meant relying on a simple, ancient concept. You draw a static line in the dirt, build a heavy fence, and station armed guards right behind it. But today's adversaries are ignoring that barrier entirely. They aren't trying to break through the chain link or crack the concrete anymore. They are attacking the very idea of a fixed physical boundary. By 2026, the global security landscape has shifted into a highly complex modern reality known as gray zone warfare. This is a state of perpetual, carefully calculated friction. It involves constant hostile acts that operate safely below the threshold that would trigger an outright war, yet remain far more aggressive than anything you would see during standard peacetime. Pouring billions of dollars into higher, thicker walls yields a 0% return on investment when the modern geopolitical attack is designed to be invisible and non-kinetic. The first way an adversary bypasses a physical barrier is simply by going over it. Cheap, easily acquired swarm drones fly right past ground patrols, running automated payload drops to deliver narcotics and weapons directly into the country. The second method goes underneath. Along the line of control, traditional foot infiltration is rapidly being replaced by deep tunneling operations. Hostile actors use stealth technology to quietly dig routes far beneath surface defenses. And in many areas, geography won't even allow a fence to be built in the first place. In places like the Sundarbans or Dhubri, shifting riverine gaps create wide, porous zones. Transnational crime syndicates and insurgent groups use these muddy, fluid waterways to freely traffic contraband and personnel. But the third and most dangerous tactic doesn't go over or under the line. It slowly relocates the boundary itself. Along the line of actual control, this is known as salami slicing. Salami slicing is a strategy where a nation executes a continuous series of tiny, localized provocations. Because each individual action is too small to justify a military response, they slowly stack up to secure a major territorial gain. You can see this happening through the rapid, permanent construction of adversary roads, outposts, and logistics hubs cut directly into the mountains immediately adjacent to disputed zones. Add all of these methods up, and the traditional 2D perimeter becomes a total liability. A wire fence is blind to a drone passing overhead, death to a tunnel being dug 30 feet below, and legally helpless against an adversary slowly inching their camp forward. India is replacing static barriers with a comprehensive Integrated Border Management System 2.0. The core philosophy of this architecture is to transition from passive guarding to predictive intelligence. The first layer acts as the system's senses. Instead of waiting for a tripwire to break, ground radars, thermal imagers, and light-based LiDAR sensors constantly sweep the surface topology to map movement from miles away. Below the surface, an underground web of fiber optic cables continuously listens. These cables detect the tiny seismic microvibrations created by digging tools, instantly flagging deep tunneling operations before they breach the surface. All of that incoming information flows into the system's brain. Because the volume of sensor data is massive, the architecture uses edge computing, processing the data locally right at the border outposts, so the analysis happens in real time. At this stage, artificial intelligence scans the raw feeds to weed out false alarms. It instantly recognizes the difference between a wandering animal and the distinct heat signature and movement pattern of a human being. When a genuine threat is identified, like an incoming drone swarm, the system deploys its muscle. Rather than relying on soldiers firing rifles into the sky, it responds with automated signal jammers and directed energy weapons to fry the electronics midair. By linking these senses, the brain, and the muscle, CIBMS 2.0 strips away the vulnerabilities of a rigid, passive wall and installs an active, highly reactive digital shield. The evolution here is measurable. We are moving from a traditional model defined strictly by physical fencing to a smart model driven entirely by sensors, artificial intelligence, and data fusion. That technological upgrade transforms national borders from fragile, easily broken passive lines into wide, resilient zones of what military planners call strategic depth. But the technology requires a final, non-technical component to function properly, which is being implemented through an initiative called the Vibrant Villages Program. By heavily investing in the socio-economic stability of remote communities situated right on the border, the local population becomes deeply rooted. They effectively act as a proactive, embedded intelligence network that alerts authorities to unusual activity. In the complex reality of gray zone warfare, national sovereignty cannot be guaranteed by stacking more concrete and unrolling more barbed wire. It requires a seamless fusion of advanced algorithms, predictive data, and highly resilient human communities.